Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, Lauren, and Danny. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
We're back!
I wanted it to be more suspenseful than that.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Danny.
And we're Cimorelli. Welcome back to...
The Cimorelli podcast.
Wow, it feels so good to be back.
Thank you.
So on this podcast, if you have not seen it before, we share juicy stories, we discuss personal topics, and we get vulnerable and real with all of you guys. And number one, we keep it very entertaining, so you will not fall asleep to this podcast. If it's nighttime and trying to fall asleep,
Good luck.
ain't gonna
Pick the
happen.
wrong
Put it back on in
podcast.
the morning. Okay, don't comment and tell me I was wrong, okay? Okay, so here's what we're doing this time around in season 2.
Hey.
We got spicy advice questions. Then we have topic of conversation in the middle. And we're going to have one topic where we're really going to get into it with lots of little subtopics. And then we have Sister Spotlight. What is that, you ask? It is some past, what do we call them? Segments, such as, well, I'll tell you what they are. Lauren's Take, Get Real with Christina, Sappy Thoughts with Kath, Amy's Current Crisis, Exposing Lisa, this is a new one, and Danny's Love-Hate List, which is kind of a new one. Every other episode is only available on our Patreon, which is a magical place full of many incredible things, not just the podcast. It's amazing, okay? Kath's the leader of our Patreon. That's her project, which you're going to learn all about who does what in the band, like the real deal behind the scenes in one of these episodes, okay?
yeah.
So you're gonna get all the juice.
So become a patron today.
Yeah, if you wanna see every other episode, you gotta go to Patreon. You're gonna get 2 episodes on YouTube, and you're gonna get 4 episodes a month on Patreon.
Boom.
So you gotta get over there. This is stuff you don't want to miss. All right, so let's jump in, guys. Let's jump in. So we're gonna start this with spicy advice Q&A.
It's
Not a Q&A. It's a question.
Okay.
I love that.
All
I
right,
love
back
that.
to the Q&A.
Thinking of.
Today's
I love that.
Q&A
Does that sound
is
like
from today's Q&A is from Megan Barlog, and this is from our Patreon. So Megan's one of our patrons. Shout
Meg.
out to her. The question is, how to be more confident / come out of my shell ?
Good question. Good cue.
Okay, I'll start this. As the resident introvert of the group, even though Lisa's technically an introvert, she's a
This is a
different
fake
kind.
introvert.
I don't know. I don't
Whatever.
really count it that much. But how to come Okay, how to come out of your shell as an introvert, which is what I'm guessing you are, is kind of a trick question because I think for me, the biggest thing that helped me come out of my shell was to realize that I don't have to, right? Like realizing that I can just be how I am and say what I want to say or not say anything if I don't want to say anything, and just accepting that that is just how I am. I am going to be more quiet than other people made it easier for me to just be real and be who I am. So that's my advice for you.
That's really good.
Like take the pressure
I
off.
love that.
Redefine the standards.
All right,
love
I have
that.
some.
Oh,
I have
I'm
some.
gonna go after
I have
you.
some advice. That's my
Some
new way of
advice?
saying advice.
Love
Okay.
that.
did you come out of your shell? You were born
No. But
That's advice.
on confidence.
She still has
She said
insecurity.
confidence too. I never had to come out of a shell, but
Okay, just clarify that.
Okay.
Danny's like, I was born
Danny never-
shellless.
She was.
I
Shells
was.
and cheese?
I'm
Okay.
like a snail, a slug.
Yes, Danny's
She's a
slug,
snail,
she's
I'm a slug.
I was more of a slug too.
Love that.
Anyway, so
Love that.
stop. So look, I saw this thing on a TV show, and the person on the TV show looked in a mirror and then wrote on the mirror, I'm sure people have done this before, but wrote on the mirror all these really positive things that they saw in themselves.
Aww.
And so it was like worthy and like beautiful and like strong and this, that, and the other thing. And I saw that and I was like crying. I was like, that is so nice.
Aw.
So I felt that was a really good idea that people should do. Like if you're struggling with confidence, whether it's like your physical appearance or even like your personality or anything, like go in your bathroom and get like mirror markers that wash off or whatever. And write like in colorful pink, green, yellow, whatever you want to do. Not like sad black, like colors. And write like really positive words that you see in yourself. even if you don't fully believe it, like something that maybe you could pull out of yourself, or maybe if you see nothing in yourself, ask other people, hey, what do you think about me?
That's a good
And
one.
then, like your friends, not mean people. And then,
Hey, boy,
right?
what do you see in me?
And
Rude, worthless.
right? No. So then write it on your mirror, and then every day when you look in the mirror, it kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it would do a lot for you. I haven't done
Yeah,
it
it's
before,
true. I
but I
have
feel
done
it
that.
would.
That's
So
really
You know
cute.
what? I saw
Good
this
tip.
in a bathroom in a church, like a couple weeks ago. I was at church, and it's a different church, and I walked in the bathroom, and I had in the women's bathroom, obviously I was in the women's bathroom, and it had all of these really nice things written
Yeah.
all over it, and I walked in, and I was like,
yeah.
and I felt so good about myself. So
And
it's true.
It's something about like your brain. I don't know how it works, and I'm not a scientist, but I
I'm a
feel
scientist.
this would make some sense to me. Where like if you see these words when you're looking at yourself, then it might like train your brain somehow to
Love
like
it.
associate
Associate.
those words with you because you're looking at
that
yourself.
makes sense.
I should
All right,
that.
Lise?
I have one quick tidbit because I am an introvert or whatever. I know I was like a mute child, and then I went to like really loud
were?
and wacky. Yes,
She wasn't
I did
weird.
Not
She
speak.
didn't do weird stuff
I was
to the
not-
public. She was like,
No,
To
see,
the
yeah,
public.
in private when I'm 8 years old. Or whatever, I was not weird. I was like, la la la. I like to rollerblade. I want to be a professional swimmer. What? What did that have to do with me? Literally, Christina, I didn't until I did musical theater, so I was like 9
were
or
not
10 years
weird.
old. The first 10 years of my life, I was not. Anyway, I think I just started to think about things and realize that number one, I'm not going to like die or endure physical harm if I say something weird or too loud and someone like gives me a bad look. Like nothing's gonna happen. I don't have to be affected by that. Number two, I started to notice that people like it when you speak up and be funny. You like you don't have to do this fake thing of like, oh, people like it when you're funny. But if you feel like being funny, know that it might be welcomed. And third, know that I started to feel like, you know what? I deserve to be here. Like, I deserve to walk around and be funny and, like, be myself and, you know, put on fun outfits and be like, hey, guys! Like, when I'd go out with my girlfriend and stuff, I wasn't being like, hey, people like when you're outgoing. I was just like, I want to be with my friends. I was excited. And I wasn't trying to be anything. I was like, hey, I want to be what I want to be, and I deserve to be that.
That is so
And
nice.
That's so nice.
That really helped me as a
Love that.
teenager realizing that, so I hope that helps you.
I love that.
I can go off of Lisa's for mine. So basically, taking from hers and saying the permission part of it, like, it's like she had to give herself permission, like, oh, I'm allowed to, whatever it is, be funny, be loud. I'm allowed to say that I deserve something, right? I think we, like, wait for people to give us permission, like, because we're used to that as a kid. Like, you have to be given permission for, like, everything. I mean, you're in school. We didn't go to public school at all. We were homeschooled. So,
relate.
we didn't go to a school with other people besides ourselves, okay? So,
But we did activities where you had to get permission, like to go to the bathroom or
but
whatever.
the idea of being in like a classroom all day and sitting there and like waiting for permission for everything was kind of foreign, kind of different. But you're sitting there all day, you have to get permission for everything, and then you come home and it's the same thing from your parents, which I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying you like learn, oh, I need permission. But the reality is you can give yourself permission, like, oh, I'm allowed to be confident, I'm allowed to be brave, I'm allowed to say like I deserve this, I'm allowed to say like I'm beautiful. I think we don't realize we're waiting for permission, but you don't need to wait for permission. Just give yourself permission, and then you can just go and spread your wings like a butterfly, get out of your cocoon. And then the other thing I was gonna say was I do this thing. It's like a very short-term delusional mood thing, I would call it. I don't know what to call it. So it's when I'm going into a situation where I'm nervous, and I give myself permission kind of to be in this delusional state of mind for a short term because it's hard to stay in it forever. So I'm going somewhere. I remember this. I could think of a specific instance. I was going to this girl's birthday party last year, her 30th birthday. Okay. And I only knew one person there. What?
It's not there.
No. I only knew one person there. It was
Wasn't
Brooke.
you.
I knew one person there. And I was like, because I didn't know, like, if it was going to be annoying people who I can't connect with, and I was just going to be sitting there, like, or if it was going to be a good situation. So before I went in, I was like, you're a winner. You're born for this. You can do this. You can do this. You can be social and blah, blah, blah. Because I am a very social person, but if I'm in a situation where people are just, I don't connect with them at all, then I'm just like, I get really mad and annoyed, and then I'm just like, have a really bad night. I'm not like, oh, I'm just going to have shallow conversations. I just can't do that. I just think it's really annoying. So
Too deep.
so I I'm too deep. Yeah, I tell myself like, okay, I'm just gonna be delusionally like, doesn't matter what goes wrong, I'm just gonna stay in this good mood and like keep my confidence up, period, for the next like 2 hours, whatever. And then I just like stay in it. And then it helps you to like do things that you're scared of. If you're like, no matter what, for just the next 2 hours, I'm gonna be ridiculously confident and positive and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, after that, I can go back to normal, but I'm just gonna do it. And then you start like having experiences and they build your confidence because you do things you didn't think you could do. And then you're like, oh my gosh, now I can do that. I've done it before. So that's my little tip.
It's kind of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely is.
Okay, my quick tip is question things more because I think for me, I tend to be very sensitive and assume things that people think about me. Or like someone will be looking at me like in this weird look, like it looks like they're like thinking you are so weird or you're such an idiot. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, they think I'm weird and an idiot. But I realized a lot of times later I'd be like, hey, did you think I was being weird or an idiot? And they'll be like, no, I was actually thinking about like this thing that was annoying me in my own life. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I've seen people do this all the time where they look at someone, they're like, why are you looking at me like that? And their person's like, oh, I was literally thinking about something else. So you might have all these beliefs based on assumptions you have about how other people have reacted to you, but they might actually be false.
You never
so
said anything.
question them
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
question
Good
your own
tip.
beliefs. Because when we went on YouTube and I got a lot of hate comments when I was like 17, this horrible, evil voice in my head was like, well, these people don't know you, so why would they lie? Like, why would they have a reason to lie? That is false, okay? If someone says something rude about you, they don't know you. So stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Didn't you say that in one of the podcasts? Stop it. Or you said that? Just stop it. Oh, wait, that was one of your Patreon
No, that
videos.
was her idea.
Her
Her advice
life
for-
hack is stop it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
You'll
so I'm
hear-
gonna go back to Lisa then.
You'll hear more about life hacks in a later episode. We plan them all out, okay? So I don't know if you'll see it. If you're on Patreon, you definitely will.
Okay, so two things that I thought of when you guys were
I was
speaking.
about to say, when did you have a show? What are you
Um,
talking about?
I actually have a
Confidence.
it's both though.
Okay.
One time I waited outside a party for an hour for Catherine to show up because I couldn't go in.
and
And I tried to walk up to the door 3 times.
And Amy's
And I couldn't
guys,
do it.
Amy's social. She is
Yeah.
out
the most
I-
social out of all of us, I would
I
say.
love new people, but I couldn't go because I was too
It's a
scared.
confidence thing, right?
Yeah, I didn't know like it was in the backyard, but I didn't know like how to get to there, and I didn't want to like. It was very awkward. So I
Guys,
just waited for Kat to come.
I would quickly interject that I'm really surprised that I've actually never done that, and I always walk in when I don't know people. I'm just like, I'm just gonna meet someone. I just decide.
Whatever.
Fake
Brag,
introvert.
brag,
Because
brag.
we like to plan a little more.
I feel
like,
proud of
what's
myself.
The plan? You're like, I don't even think about the
I'm
plan.
like,
so you
no,
don't even.
if I'm nervous, I'm like, I have to do this. I'm just gonna do it. I have to
because
go
I'm
in.
such a
for you.
permission person. I'm like, I don't have
Yeah.
like I don't know if I have permission to go through the backyard or
Anyway.
like what am I supposed to do?
There's
I
gonna
don't
be
know
a
who the
red
people are.
light is gonna start flashing and an alarm's gonna go off.
cops will be
Yes.
You have been arrested.
So what's your tip?
So my tip is you have to, as
You have
Christina
been
said,
arrested.
give yourself permission. I
that's your
remember,
tip?
Yeah,
Wait, she said
reading
Break
Brene-
the
I
window.
Think,
Just kidding.
I think it was Brene Brown. I think I think it's in Braving the Wilderness, but she talks about how she started writing herself.
Which you never
Permission.
gave
Physical-
back. You took
You
that book
never
from me.
asked.
Oh,
You,
okay,
I
I
would like it back.
It's in Daring
Keep
Greatly.
going.
What is the
I
point?
think. Or maybe she just talked about it in that era. I can't remember.
She
It's
talked
Brene Brown.
about it, but she talks about writing herself physical permission slips on Post-it notes, and like you have permission to care about this today,
Oh,
and
that's
then
nice.
dash Brene.
Ooh, that's so funny.
Love it.
It's
That's
so
fun.
funny, but yeah, you need to give yourself permission, and also, even though you're quiet, there are probably a lot of people like me who want to be quiet like you. So you should be confident in the fact that you're more quiet
Don't think of it
or
as a
that
bad
you're
thing.
loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. My whole life, I wanted to be like Lauren. And I
Yeah.
wanted to have
Same.
a shell.
Can't
I
relate.
wanted to have a shell desperately.
Why?
Yeah.
Hey,
Because
yes.
it's
I thought it was
awkward
cool and
when you're really
mysterious.
loud and you're not mysterious and people
Yes.
just know you and see through you and you're
Oh,
like,
no.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's-
for
and you say
every
the wrong thing all the time and you're like,
Yeah, for every quiet girl who wishes that she was more loud, there is a
loud
loud girl
who wishes she
who
was quiet.
wishes she was quiet and thinks, oh, I can never be mysterious and alluring like a
True.
quiet girl.
I would like to add one end comment to this, which was right after I said my segment, I drank some of this carbonated water and a bubble went down my throat the wrong way and my eyes started watering. I was like, I wonder if I look like I'm getting emotional because I was trying to like burp it up, like, I was sitting there like,
oh, I did wonder about that.
And my
Someone
eyes
can
were
make a compilation.
but it
Girls
was
getting emotional during the podcast.
It was just the bubbles.
Was that your whole thing?
Yes, that's
Okay,
all I had
so
to add.
to wrap this topic up, then we're saying you can be quiet and wish like, oh, I wish I could say what's on my mind, and you could be really loud and be like, oh, I wish
I
didn't
didn't
say
say
what was
wish
on
I
my
could
mind.
keep something inside for once
Or
and come
why
across
did I
as
say that?
somewhat
Ugh.
mysterious. So why not decide, give yourself permission that you're gonna love what you are because you are that, and it's not gonna change. So just choose to love it, and that's how you can build your confidence.
Love that.
All right, guys, we're moving on to topic of conversation for the day. So we wanted to make something special for this first episode of season 2. And we thought letting you guys like really in behind the scenes of our sisterhood, which is something people are intrigued with. I mean, how often do you come across 6 sisters? Rarely, okay? And it is a wild ride. So we decided we were going to break it down for you guys and like really let you in on the behind the scenes of our childhood, our current status, just kidding, our current status as sisters, and some
Our
funny
current status, still sisters.
funny stories, some funny stories, and some dramatic stories, some painful stories.
Story time.
Story
Yeah.
time.
In the night.
So we're gonna jump into the truth. I almost hit the table, but I'm not allowed to hit the table because it makes the mic slide. The truth about our sisterhood,
TM.
what it's really like to be in our family.
Are you being a clickbait YouTube?
Okay, but on the real, we
video?
actually are saying what it's really like to be in our family.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually are gonna tell you that.
Not clickbait.
It's not clickbait.
No, it just sounds like it, but it's not.
Yeah.
So the first topic in this topic is we were gonna say sister fights. Oh.
Can I just say we have a video about this called Recreating Our Worst Fights, and it's a really good video.
It
is
so
good.
I suggest you go to YouTube
watch
and
it.
search Cimorelli fights because it's really funny.
Because this topic is so juicy, we decided to do half of it in episode 1 and then the other half in episode 2, which is only on Patreon. So if you want to see the other half of this juicy topic, you need to be on Patreon. It's always going to be there. If you join late, like you can still see it. So don't worry, it's not going to disappear. But you need to get on Patreon if you want to see the second episode, which has the second half of all of the sister stuff.
Yes.
So this first topic, we're going to tell the first half here, and the second half only on Patreon. So let's start with sister fights.
This is so juicy.
Danny and Lauren, you want to get us started?
You know, I think it's good that we get it started because I feel we have the most iconic fights. No offense, everyone else.
Yeah.
Just because growing up, Lauren and I spent a lot of time together, and arguably we've spent the most time together out of everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we kind of fought over some ridiculous things. But I think we've started the laundry basket one, do you think?
Yeah. So,
You wanna
okay,
start
I
it?
have to explain this because
Yeah,
it was
explain.
really my fault. So
Give her the preface,
we
backstory.
shared a room, right? And so we like divided the room in half. Like, okay, this is my half of the room, this is your half of the room, right?
Where did you share a room? In Malibu?
In
In
Eldorado Hills.
Eldorado Hills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you and me
I
were
was
on
in there. Okay.
You
And
and me on one
so-
side, they were on the other.
Okay, it's my story.
That's not the point.
So we were cleaning our rooms, right? And I always tried to like, you know, the older sister, you're like, oh, I'm smarter than her about the younger one, right? So I was trying to like trick her to like do things that I didn't want to do or like, you know. So we were cleaning our room and I had like my half, she'd her half, and there was like a laundry basket in my half, and I knew it was just a random laundry basket from the laundry room that I probably brought in.
You
But
didn't
I was
tell me that. I didn't
But
know
I
this.
was like
pure
8
evil.
years old and I was like, I don't want to deal with this freaking laundry basket. So I just threw it into Danny's half and I was like, this is not mine. And she was like, well, it's not mine either. And she threw it back on mine. And then
We got really mad
Yeah.
and we started like chucking it back and forth and like yelling. Keep in mind, we're like 6. Like I was like 6 and she was
You
like
wouldn't
8.
think you're twins, but you're 2 years apart.
No, but 6, 8, same
we
thing.
were both, sir.
No, but I was like 6, she was like 8. So imagine 2 very little girls chucking a laundry basket back and forth. And I was like, it's not mine either. And then she threw it again. And
yeah, I
then
just started screaming.
You started screaming a
and
lot.
then it like got
and
to
then
the point.
I was like, Mom! And I yelled for Mom for some reason, because that's what I always did to tattle on her or whatever. And then it got to the point
oh
where...
yeah, it got to the point where I think we started throwing it like at each other.
Yeah.
And I was
She
just
was
like,
like,
I'm
"Oh, no."
so over this.
And
So then I
then-
left the room and I remember.
No, I left the room.
Wait,
I
remember.
got up and left the room because I went into the bathroom,
I
remember?
thought I did that.
You were hiding from Lauren.
I
attack
think
you.
that I went into the bathroom and then I screamed. I was like, I hate you.
No, I thought I screamed I hate you.
It sounds
I
like
thought it was me.
Guys, they're so close.
I
They
don't
share
know.
memory.
I feel like we told it so many times that.
There's so many times where we were
At
like,
the same
"It's
time,
time."
you said the same
basically-
thing.
One of us stormed out of the room, locked ourselves in the bathroom, and said, "I hate you."
Because of a
Because
laundry
of a
basket.
laundry basket.
And
It was just trying to.
We didn't.
It was
just
just
let
a
it
we
pass
had
each other.
aggression
So
that
where'd
we
it
just need
go?
to get
A lot
out.
of aggression.
Where'd the laundry basket
I
go?
don't know. Someone took it out. It's
Honestly,
probably
probably
me.
you. Yeah.
I probably.
Jenny
did.
probably walked back in,
She cracked.
grabbed the laundry
as
basket.
I knew she would.
I think you know what I think happened. I think that I angrily threw it into their side of the room. I think because we shared like
That's
a
the
really
best
big
plan.
room, like us four. So I think I threw it into Amy and Lisa's other side.
And then I probably put it away.
Me, when someone could have just put it in the laundry room.
No.
No, it was
Then
like
you're
this
like,
weird.
You're
Giving in.
admitting that it was your
Yeah, it
fault.
was yours, but it
Oof.
wasn't.
Even though it was Lauren's fault.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it was my
gosh.
fault.
Rude.
That is funny.
That's
Bad message.
wild.
Yeah, that's
I'm
how a lot
not
of
saying
things
it was
go.
right. Okay.
That was wild.
LOL. Okay. So Danny and Kath have a power struggle.
You talk about it because I don't know how to explain it.
Danny and Kath have a power struggle where whenever Danny tells Kath something
Oh.
to do,
Yeah.
Danny is the youngest, so when she gets in a position of power, sometimes I think that she's being a great leader and that she's very chill and good. But then sometimes I think she kind of lords it a little bit.
What does that mean?
It's like
Like,
kind of
hold it
like
over people.
like being like I don't know. That could honestly be
Condescending?
me
She
assuming.
thinks.
I could be assuming, and maybe it's me because I'm an older sister of you, not being
is.
comfortable and
It
you
is.
bossing
It
me
truly
around.
is.
So sometimes it feels like you can be very bossy.
This is a general thing.
condescending
This is
is
a
what it
general
is.
thing. I like to think that I'm a really smart person, and that
you
sometimes
are.
I get this inflated sense of self where I'm like, I know better than everyone. So I tell people things. I'm like, hey, this thing is lame, or this thing's bad, or like, hey, maybe we could do this better, or
Like,
whatever.
You need to do that.
And or like, you need to do this, and like I say things in a really intense way for whatever reason, and part of it probably is like, oh, I can whatever. I don't know. I don't consciously think about this at all, so I couldn't
like,
explain
I
it.
can take back the power.
just
Something
like you
like
messed that
that?
part up. Hey, you messed that up. You normally say like that. You're like, you messed
No,
that
she's
part up.
talking about a different.
No,
meaning,
yeah,
though.
no, but I'm saying
Right?
she's saying that.
That's what makes her mad.
Yeah, but no, but
You
yeah,
correct.
she thinks that when I
Yeah,
correct things,
corrections.
it's because I have like a power struggle, which could be a subconscious thing that I don't understand because I don't feel that. I just feel that sometimes I think that my opinions are better than other people, so I have to tell them things. But I'm working on not doing that anymore because it's really offensive.
See, but the way it comes across to me is that you seem like you think people aren't gonna listen, so you have to go a little overboard on the command.
See, I don't.
Oh yeah.
I
how
don't
it
feel that
comes
way.
across to me.
I feel I
But
just
I
have
could be
a
wrong.
what's it knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking this thing. I gotta say it right now, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, gotta say it, and it's like I say it in
Also,
an intense way.
I'm
But
like-
let me
Oh,
say,
go
this
ahead.
is a general thing with all of the sisters, except maybe I don't know some of you, where if I say anything, especially these two, Catherine and Amy,
Look.
if I say anything that's like telling them what to do, quote
Oh my
unquote,
gosh.
they freak out, and sometimes Amy will just start yelling at me, and she'll just like Amy has this rage
Amy
on
goes
the
like,
inside.
"Don't
Danny
tell me
likes
what
to
to
hate
do."
from outside of the club.
She can't get in.
See, I don't get what that means.
What?
When I'm playing guitar and Danny
Oh.
isn't.
Yes,
They
what-
give
that happens all the
these
time.
Instructions.
Because I think I have really good opinions on how you should strum the guitar, so that I tell Amy,
But
hey,
they're
you should
not
strum
like
it this way.
opinions more.
Well,
No,
okay.
it's not an
more like,
opinion. It's like
no,
I
no.
think this is better.
Are you saying it's not really an opinion as much as it's a command?
Yes,
Yes.
because
But
I
I am
genuinely
the one
believe
playing the
my
guitar.
command is best.
But
Okay.
sometimes I've been there as the middle person between their guitar fights, which happens many times.
Many
And
times.
sometimes Danny actually does say very chill. She's just like, "Oh, hey, Amy, I think you should change the
I'm
pattern."
working on.
I go,
Don't tell me what
She
to
gets
do.
so dramatic.
Her voice drops 2 octaves and she swells into a rage.
I don't know
She's
why.
like, "Don't tell me what to
Yeah,
do."
it happens all the time.
I don't know. It's
Okay.
a personal
So-
problem.
so
But
that's
that's a
another-
general thing.
I think that's a general thing.
General
that
thing.
Ongoing
well,
fight.
all of us can. Well, maybe not Christina
Wait,
as much,
can I
but
just
hey,
say
I think
really
wait,
fast?
hey,
I'm
I
not-
was-
Amy, she's talking.
No,
saying something.
I just want to say I'm not crying. I'm just having like some sort of weird reaction to my makeup, so
Okay,
my eyes
Amy.
are watering.
Okay.
I think all of us, except for
think we
Christina,
all-
maybe, tell me if you would disagree. I think all of us are very sensitive to someone commanding us versus
Yes.
just like kind of asking you or
Yeah.
suggesting or implying.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
That's
not.
like- well, I feel like you're not.
If
People don't, you
everyone-
don't
Take
really
it
command you.
seriously.
People don't come in.
People
Oh.
don't say do this to you.
So that's another classic ongoing one. Then the last one we're gonna tell you guys, but we do have a lot more for Patreon, is the Amy and Lisa cat spilled water on
This
book.
one's amazing.
You have to tell this one because I don't really
Okay,
remember
so
it.
Lisa has wiped her memory,
Doesn't
but this
remember.
this is a fight of a time that Lisa got a book that I wanted to read. So I asked her for permission, and I read the book, and
You
this
did
was
ask
in our
permission.
Yes.
She was allowed to read
Yes.
the book.
So, said book was on our kitchen table in our apartment that we shared, okay? And
Apartment.
the only apartment we've ever shared.
Now I really also don't remember. 'cause I
No,
thought
no,
this was
no.
in our house.
This is the beginning of it. So
Okay.
basically, what happened was the cat got on the table.
Lisa's cat.
Lisa's cat got on the table. It spilled water on Lisa's book. And I was in charge of that book. It was in my custody. But
It was.
so then,
See, but it's weird. When you put a book on a table, you don't think, oh, this
Oh,
is
a
a
cat's
danger
gonna
zone.
Live with the
a
cat.
Lisa's
Kitchen table,
cat-
what the cat
What's
does.
the cat gonna rip the book?
Lisa had Lisa's cat had a vendetta against Waters. So
Yes,
he
we
would
all knew
knock
this.
them all down.
We always
But
did.
We all
I
knew
forgot.
this.
So I left it there, whatever, it happened. Then a year later, we had moved out. We were in our house, and Lisa wanted the book back. So I gave the book back. She's like, what happened to the book? And I was like, your cat spilled water on it. Because it was true. So Lisa was like, what happened to my book? And I was like, your cat spilled water on it. Which is true. That's factually how the story
I
happened.
remember this now.
But
I
I
remember.
left the book out for the cat to spill the water on, which she reminded me of. So then,
Because you can't just be like you borrow someone's car and you leave it in the middle of the street and it gets hit by a car and you're like, it's your car. I see where you're coming
no,
from.
but it
on
got
this.
hit by your car. Like you own both
No,
things.
you left the car in the middle of the street.
No, it's
That's
like
the point.
if she left the car in the middle of the street, then you hit the car.
No, I
With
hit it.
your other
It's
car.
a
Your
plastic
other
animal.
car.
Your
I hit
son
it.
hit the car.
Yeah, and then your son hit the
But it's
car.
not my son's fault.
And then
that
a
the
year
car-
later-
It's your son's
True.
fault that
I
he hit
gotta
the car.
start Lisa.
Okay, this is
All right.
confusing me.
So then we literally
I remember
started yelling.
I remember this.
it
This
was-
was scary.
It was
Because I was like,
shocking.
how much louder can I say this will make sense?
And I was so mad.
Wait.
Because I was like, it's technically not my fault. If you didn't have the cat, then the book would be
But the book was
fine.
in your custody, though.
No,
Yeah,
Amy
I know.
was
Oh.
screaming, it's your cat! And I was like, you left the book out!
I was like, it's yours. But then I just ordered her a new one, and it's okay.
And I say, isn't that interesting in fights how people think that, and I would say I agree, I do this myself, people think that if someone didn't agree with something you said, you just need to say it louder.
Louder.
And then they'll agree with you. Why do
It's
we
not
think
gonna-
that in the moment?
Because you lose rational decision ability.
Yeah,
You're like, I'm just going to yell this, and then they'll
You
agree.
need to rephrase.
All right. Well, I see that Lisa and I have something in common on that one, so that's good to know. So
Also,
if-
it really reminded me of their fight. Like, it really did.
Who, them?
Oh yeah, because it was like over a book.
Isn't that
Okay.
weird? It's like the two closest in age.
By the way,
in their fights.
just to end that story, I never read the book.
oh my
I
It
never
was a
read
good
it.
book.
Okay, so
She just wanted the power.
the rest of this is going to be on Patreon. It's going to be Christina mocking Amy, Danny and Lauren, same crush, Catherine and Christina, the going to
Oh,
bed struggle,
gosh.
and the Amy and Catherine power struggle.
Oh.
That is on
Oh.
episode 2
Amy.
on
Patreon.
Patreon
High five.
only. All right, guys, we're going into childhood stories.
Ooh.
I see that Lauren used to bully Danny.
Oh my
this
gosh.
is a sad
This
story.
is pretty
but,
sad,
you
TBH.
know, I
We
am
should play
all
sad
about
music.
honesty, so
And
not really.
We've
but
all
mostly.
moved on, so no one's gonna freak out or anything. So
don't
But
know if I've
it's
moved
really
on.
sad. So you see me and this young chap, and you're like, wow, they're so close.
BFFs.
Making all these jokes behind the scenes while everyone else is talking. They don't know that we're making fun of them.
So many.
But it wasn't
rats.
always this way, okay?
No.
When
Oh.
I was like young,
Oh, young,
I have
like-
an older brother who's right older than me and younger than Amy. And we were like the two peas in a
BFFs.
pod. Like his name is Alex, my name is Lauren, and my mom would call us Alan
Alan
and
and
Lorix because she said our names so many times that she mixed them up. Okay, so it was
True.
like Danny was like
I
a
wasn't
speck
there.
of dust. I don't know who she was. I didn't know she existed.
Well, I was
basically.
4 years younger than Alex, so like when he was 6, I was 2. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. So Alex and I just had like a
A bond.
bond,
Real
and then we were like, you know, getting older, so we're like
Yeah.
8 years old or something. We're like, yeah, we're old now. So then we're like, oh, I don't want to be around these babies like Danny
Like me and the
like,
little
the-
boys.
my other little brothers.
No, we'll get there.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay, okay,
we would just bully her
Yeah.
because we thought that she was like making us a baby if we hung out with her, I guess.
But
So
like
it was
they
really
they
sad,
let
though.
me hang out with them like all the time.
But
like,
only
we
as
would
like our
have-
slave.
That's what I'm saying. Like we would have. Here's an example. We would have like sleepovers in the like living room, and so
Oh,
we'd sleep
yeah.
on the couches, and I would always get the really small couch in the
You were
corner.
smaller than
No, but
us.
I'm saying I would get the bad
Yeah,
couch.
you get
You guys
the
would get the
loud-
good couch. I would get the bad couch. We played this game where you like turn off the light, and once the light turns off, you roll off the couch on the floor. I don't know why. But it was really fun.
Onto pillows.
Onto
though.
pillows. But I was always the one who had to turn off the light.
Yeah.
And like I just was the one who like the short end of the stick.
It was like she really wanted to hang out with us,
Really
and like
bad.
we knew how much she wanted to, so we would just take advantage of her, make her shut off the light, and do everything we didn't want to do. Really sad, but so this is so mean. I
mean.
remember one time she was like trying to play with us outside or something.
No,
and
no,
we were
it
like,
wasn't outside. It was
crying.
in the boys' room, and I was in the crib.
Oh, this happened multiple times.
I have a vivid
Okay,
memory
multiple
of this 'cause it was
times.
traumatic.
She would try to hang out with us, and we're like, no, we don't need that. So then we would chant at her, and we would say, B-A, B-Y, B-A, B-Y, and call her a
it was
baby,
so
and then
mean.
till she cried
cry.
and ran away, and we were just like, ha ha.
So
Like,
mean.
what the heck?
And I remember one
This is in
time.
Malibu?
No,
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 this is
that's too
Eldorado
old. This
Hills.
is like really young.
Eldorado
this is like
Hills,
4 or
yeah.
5,
Did you do it
6.
in Malibu? Because I thought I
No.
remembered you saying it in
remember
Malibu.
the
No, by the
BABY
time
was
Malibu
sad.
occurred,
It
we
is
were
really
old.
sad.
No, but listen, I remember this is really sad. One time, I don't know if you tricked me into doing this or if
Probably
I
did.
did on purpose, but I think you tricked me into doing it. There was a crib in my brother's room, and so I got into the crib for some reason, and I was like 6 or 5 or something. Like I was really little, but I wasn't a baby. And then I got in the crib, and then you started chanting it because I was in the crib. Get
I
it?
probably tricked
'Cause
you
it-
into
yeah,
getting
I think
into
you
it.
tricked me.
Oh, no.
But that was really, really sad.
It's
and
too
then,
sad.
and then Lauren started liking this boy that I liked, which we'll talk about more, right? Aren't we talking about
Yeah,
that?
talking about that in the next
in the
one.
next episode on Patreon.
Mhm.
But I remember that made it even worse because then she hung out with this boy that I couldn't hang out with, and then I thought I was so annoying. I could go so deep into this, but it was a deep issue. But you grew out of it at some point. I don't remember when, but like
Honestly,
not
this
too
is what
old.
happened. Once you started getting older,
You realized that was
then-
fun.
No, then you started making all these friends, and you were this chatty, fun girl, or whatever. And I was
Yes.
like, then I was jealous of you.
She
because
wanted
I was
to be
like,
me.
wow, she's so fun and outgoing.
and
Wish
I was like,
could be.
oh, how the turntables have turned. And so that happened. But we grew out of it.
now
Thank
we're
you.
good friends.
Now we're good, and we had a lot of fights, like physical fights, and like we had to what's the word, like
Hash it out.
hash it out over the course of many years.
Then we realized
Now we're
that
good.
was bad.
Yeah, now we're good.
Guys, let's do a
nice,
happy
happy
one.
story.
I have a,
Please.
I have a happy
It ended
one.
good.
All I'm
No, it
saying is
ended
I
well.
was there for Danny.
Thank you.
Hey,
Amy.
I have a happy
Really.
one to cleanse your palate of that, and that involves Danny. Okay, so this will make you feel
Oh.
better.
Okay.
So even though Lauren was roasting Danny and leaving her in the dust, which she made up for later,
Yeah, it's okay.
I was hanging out
Guys,
with
I'm
Danny.
gonna start crying right
Lisa.
now.
Listen,
This is a good
Danny
story.
had the good oldest sis to hang out with. We have a lot
That
of
is
really
true.
good memes. When
memes.
Danny was like young,
Really young.
I would do photo shoots with her, probably 'cause she wasn't hanging out with anyone else. I would do photo shoots with her. We would go on walks. I also went on walks with you. I have memories of hanging out with both of them.
Yeah.
As little kids.
I didn't like going on
And-
walks. Since I was a child, I did not want to go on walks with anyone.
True. And then we would go to the town center
Mhm.
and get frozen waffles and eat them.
And
So
I
weird.
read you your homework. Like
we would
Play-Doh.
study together.
Yeah.
I would. Danny would.
She was in college.
Yeah, I was like,
young.
Well, you were 6?
I was
was
probably
like,
6 or 5.
want to help me study? So she would like. Danny was really young, so she was 6 and I was 16 or
She was
7
really
and
good
17.
at reading at that
And she
point.
would read my like flashcards to help me study, and then we would go to Starbucks like every week, and I would just do like my stats homework,
funny.
and then she would just be like hanging out and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you want me to get you a drink?"
And
Or buy something?"
also, there would always be a boy that you liked around because it was
I was
by the
like-
gas station where all of your catch boys
Were
hung
you
out.
the one that helped her count how many times the lifeguard
Yes!
looked at her?
Wait, let's talk about that on
I was there
Patreon.
too, okay.
Let's talk
Okay,
about that
we
on
all
Patreon.
three went?
Yeah, you were
Oh
there
my
too.
gosh.
Okay, we have to tell
Next
the story
episode.
on Patreon. It's a really good one. Okay,
It involves
Anyway.
a lifeguard.
it's really good.
how you
It's
know
really
it's good.
juicy. So
Anyway.
basically, I hung out with both of them, and when they were really little,
little.
Lauren was 8 years, is 8 years younger. Danny's 10, and we would just do random stuff. But it was like I was a teenager, and they were like kids, but it was so fun. And then who would clean my room?
Me. I loved to help anyone with anything. I
You
still
would
do.
help me?
I still do, but especially when I was a kid, especially Christina, because she was like my idol. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, if you let me clean your room, I was like, please let me clean your room. And she'd be like, okay, you can clean my room and keep all of the change that you find on the floor. And there was surprisingly,
lot.
it was
There
maybe
was a
like $1, $2.
That
I
was a lot of money.
King's money
I
to
didn't
a
have a car.
6-year-old.
Got heck of money.
King's money.
And then I would take you somewhere you could spend
And I
your
could
money.
buy candy, so it was
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd
So
like
we
to
had
say,
some good times.
even though it's really sad to hear about that, it also did develop such an awesome part of Danny's personality of like
Liking
just
bullies?
being so lovable and so like
Resilient.
easygoing and chill and resilient too. Like it's even though it obviously it hurt you, but I think it also made you like such a down to do anything type of
Thank
person. If that
you.
makes
I don't
sense.
think her
Guys, I'm
bullying
like,
her
please,
made
just
her
let me
down
hang out
to
with
do
you.
anything.
Well, I'm not saying bullying's good. I'm just saying like Danny
I hope you're
overcame
not.
it, and she's still like a very chill.
Yes.
You know,
Thank
it's like-
you.
Amy, do you want to tell about you playing school with them?
Oh yes.
Oh, that was a good time.
So basically, I was not part of their group because I thought they were babies. I was like, I don't want to hang out with the
Even
little
though
kids.
we were all like the same height.
Yes.
I was so obsessed with not being a baby.
I wanted to hang out
Yes.
with those three
Older
losers,
girls.
and they
Aw.
rejected me, and then I rejected
a
them.
mean
So it's just a circle of rejection.
Yeah, it was like the same thing as
So
Danny.
then-
Oh, I feel bad.
I would hang out with them though because it was fun. I
With
started
us
hanging out
three,
with those
or us two.
two.
Lauren and Dean.
And what I would do is we would pretend that we went to school
Because we were
'Cause we were
homeschooled.
because we were homeschoolers. Oh, and we would play bucket ball. We would get those giant buckets and we would play basketball and just throw them into the bucket.
Or we would take like bottle caps
Yes.
with brooms
Yes.
and play hockey
Broom
in the
hockey.
garage.
Yes,
Broom
that was
hockey
so
was so
fun.
Broom hockey.
So what we would do is Danny and Lauren and I, we would
Set
go
up, like,
on our
desks?
yes, but it was in the great room. So we'd set up the desk.
We get like the little side table
Yes.
and like a chair.
And we would have like home, which was downstairs, and then school,
And
which
we
was
would
upstairs.
scooter.
We would scooter around the back
outside.
of the house to go to school
go to
every day.
school.
Yeah.
And
that's
I
elaborate.
played the teacher,
Yeah.
and so I would write them tests.
She would literally write
I
us
would
like
write
a
us,
math
I write them
test.
up math tests.
Yeah.
And then
funny.
we
Hand
would
them
play, and it was really fun until
Until Lauren
became too old for me, who was older than her, and by 3 years. So at that
So-
time, I was like 12, and she was like 9.
So I'd be like, "Hey, Lauren, want to play school?" And she'd be like, "I don't want to do that.
Oh.
I'm not a baby." She probably said that.
So
to
then
me.
I just hung out with Danny. Oh, and then we would climb to the top of our closet, and we would sit there and we would
Oh, that
draw
was
with
fun.
pencil on the walls.
Write
So,
down our
write
crushes.
down-
Yes,
crushes.
we write down our.
I remember climbing up
name's
there
all
and
over
reading
there.
them.
We wrote how many days until High School Musical came out?
Yes, and that was like really fun. And then we would hide there when Christina would play that zombie game.
What?
Wait, I just got a
Oh.
really. We
Cute.
played
Oh,
the zombie
scary.
game where I would go around like this.
Oh yeah, that was so
And I would be a
scary.
zombie, and I would like run around and
Chase
hunt them.
them, yeah.
And then
That's
we
what
would
I
hide in the
loved.
top of
Wait,
the closet.
Here's another
And they would
honorable
hide.
mention.
It was fun.
When Lisa would make videos with us.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She would.
my
I got
gosh.
Alex and I had a
The soap
camera for
opera.
some reason.
We made
so
soap operas.
Lisa, being the writer that she was, we had an iMac from like 1998. One of the like
Big
Oh,
ones.
I remember. I wrote out this monologue for Amy to read, and then I was like, "Okay, just read it and pretend like you're writing a blog on the computer."
yes,
And she'd be like,
it was amazing.
"Please inform me of any changes in
No.
the milk system."
That was your no. That was your line.
Whatever,
We
something
made
like
a whole
that.
soap opera. It was literally so iconic, and it's gone, and it's the
Yeah,
saddest thing ever.
I
And it's
know.
gone. But Lisa played the part of Suzanne, who
Well, we
harassed
can't give a
her.
synopsis.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
yeah,
She
to
had
the
yeah.
It was really cute.
She had
I
some
just
great
I
lines.
just got a cute, quick memory of me and Amy where Amy was really, really good at doing her schoolwork on time and keeping on top of everything, and I was books behind. Meaning I was supposed to be on this book, and I was like 2 books behind it. I needed to do like 2 books to catch up. I was so bad in certain subjects. So I sat down to Amy one day. There was like this desk and a chair in our big living room in the great room, and I walked in and I was like, Amy, I need to talk to you. And you're like, okay. And then we sat like there's 2 chairs in the table, but it felt like you were at someone's
I think
office
I blocked this out
in the
I have
desk.
to
I
say.
remember.
I don't remember.
I came in, I sat down, I was like, how do you do it? I was like, how do you just do all your stuff on time? And she was like, oh, well, I don't know. I just do it. And I was like,
It's true.
that's not gonna help me. And you're like, maybe I could make you a schedule or something. I think
Even
I
though
was
you had
like
a schedule.
14 and you were like 12, but then we never did anything about it. But I remember you were so excited that I was asking you for help, and you're like,
oh, but you didn't have anything helpful to say because it just came natural to
Because
you.
literally, I had to
do
do it first thing when I woke up, and I
know.
felt like I couldn't do anything until I was done.
I was like,
All right.
nope.
Wow.
But yeah, that was
All
cute.
right, guys, we have a lot more juicy childhood
Oh, that was
stories,
fun.
such as Catherine and Lisa in our teen years with our stalking boys stories.
Oh
That
my
is
gosh.
wild. Oh, we have
Us and the lifeguard.
journal reading
Oh, that's good.
stories. Okay. And then we have Amy reading Lisa's journal. We're
And
not
Lauren
getting
and Danny too.
All of
we're
us.
not getting to that
No, I
here.
didn't read your journal.
That is only on Patreon. All
Patreon.
On
right.
the next episode.
So we're gonna tell you some times we had each other's backs. All right, Laura, tell us this little tidbit.
Oh yeah, this is a tidbit. This is just
Oh.
a fact. Fun
Oh,
fact.
this is a fun fact. So Danny has had a bit of a tumultuous past
With men.
with her romantic
Should I say
life.
boys?
For some reason, she always likes boys that are like really mean
Really
to her.
mean.
It's just like too much.
Gee,
Maybe
Lauren,
because
where
I bullied
did
her.
she learn that?
Stop!
Hey, don't.
No.
So every time,
Wait,
A boy-
can I tell you how I found out about this and then realize
Sure.
this?
Okay.
I don't know if Lauren even realized this until, or like it was, I don't know if it was made public knowledge until, okay, I'll explain. So one day I was like, I was saying like, oh, who have you guys blocked on social media? And everyone just kind of started saying these random people. And then Lauren starts reading her list of who she blocked. And I'm like, wait, you blocked all the boys that were like rude to Danny. And I realized that like, that is a real homie. Like Lauren really got Danny's back.
yeah, even if you were still talking to the boy and
Yeah.
you liked him, if he was rude to you, I was like, block.
She literally blocked them
Like,
on everything.
I would go on like
Twitter,
Twitter, Instagram,
Instagram,
Snapchat,
Facebook,
on
whatever.
all of my accounts, block them on every account that I have.
Yes.
So,
Because they were mean, which is good.
True
So they're all
solidarity.
blocked.
yes.
Thanks for that.
So if you're blocked, you know why.
All right, I have a
Right.
story of Lauren. There was this girl who Lauren ended up being friends with later, but she was being a freaking rat to Lauren, and she was
Yeah.
like low key bullying Lauren, and it was in musical theater. So then I cornered the girl in the bathroom. She was very young, so I wasn't gonna like hurt
Are you going
her.
to say what she called Lauren?
Oh yeah.
Didn't she?
She called me a sloppy pig.
That's
So
amazing.
Lauren,
Why?
Lauren
because
was
we
telling
were
me.
in a play, and it was like, oh, I left my belongings strewn about, apparently.
So
which
she's
was
a sloppy
barely-
pig.
So Lauren was telling me about that, and I was like, "Oh, this will not do." So then I cornered her in the bathroom, and I was like,
You're like, no one
So-
calls my sister a sloppy pig.
"No." I took a more chill approach. I was like, "You're not doing anything rude to my sister Lauren, are you?" And she was like, "No." I was like, "You wouldn't say anything mean to her, would you?" And she's like, "No." I was like, "Good, because if I hear anything about that, we're gonna have a big problem." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And then she left the bathroom.
And then they became best friends.
And then later
They actually
she
became best friends.
bullied me and made me cry when I was like
She made me cry
18
too.
or
She
20
bullied
years
me
old.
later, too.
She walked in my room in Malibu years
Wait,
later.
you're talking about the girl?
Because
Yes.
we became friends with her, okay?
And
But
then-
let's not get into that.
And no, all I'm gonna tell you, she said I did something weird that was like goofy, and she looked at me in the most evil way, like not evil, like so rude, and she was like, "This is why." She like you idiot. She's like, "This is must be why you're still single." And I was like,
Guys,
and
she
I was like,
young.
"No, I know," but it was so not kidding and like not funny and like
Oh, I
really
thought she
trying
was
to
kidding.
stick
Oh,
it into me, and I was
yikes.
like,
Wow.
and I wasn't even like horribly insecure about that, but it was so mean. I was like.
One time I
started
was
crying.
really excited to show her sunglasses that I really liked, and she said, "You look like a fly."
That's amazing.
Okay.
I was like,
what
"Hey,
about,
Anyway.
what about Lauren? The time she stood up for Danny.
Oh, okay. So we were
When was this?
we were on a,
On
like
a
a
mission
mission
trip.
trip. Okay, and
Oh.
Danny got sick. Right? She was like genuinely sick. So
I
like,
was really, I like a fever.
so she couldn't go to like the work day of
So it
like
was
the
at
mission
the
trip,
camp.
right? At the camp thing. So
And it was like
she,
one day.
Yeah, it was
That you
literally
missed it.
1
It
or 2
wasn't the
days of
whole
being
week.
sick.
She had this friend, allegedly,
Who I was fighting with all week because she was
and-
mad at me that I liked a boy.
Yeah, and then I heard that this alleged friend was saying that Danny was pretending to be
Oh my
sick.
gosh.
That
or
is so
something,
ridiculous.
So that she didn't have to do the work, and that she was just like being a jerk to
Trying to get
Danny.
attention or whatever.
And this girl was like really short. Also, she was probably like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I'm like 5'6". So I'm like half a foot taller. Okay.
What does
So-
this have to do?
it just sets the
Amy's like, I'm
scene.
feeling
No,
personally
it just
attacked.
sets the scene. Okay, so I like saw her in the hallway, and I was like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?"
Oh, I would die. I would be
I don't
so
even
scared.
remember what I said. All I remember is I got really close to her to where I was like looking straight down, and she was like looking straight up, and I was like, "I heard you were saying that like Danny is pretending to be sick or something." She's like, "I never said that," and I was like,
Yeah, you did.
"You sure?" She's like, yeah, I didn't think that. I was like, okay, good. And I just walked away.
Wow, I love that, Lauren.
All right.
That's
Wild.
amazing.
We're gonna get
She deserved
into we're gonna get into our next one. Just like I was saying before, if you want to see the rest of those, there's a lot more. Without
So
giving
many
out-
more.
Oh, I would quickly like to say that I dreamed the other night that I killed one of the boys that was
Oh.
mean to you. But I realized later that he represented my own fears and that I was overcoming them.
Okay.
I was also mad at him, so it's
That's wild.
Okay, if you want to see the rest of those, they're going to be on our Patreon episode 2. On Patreon only, so make sure you head over there and join. There's way more than the podcast. Like I said before, there's way more on Patreon. It is a lit place. All right, guys, we're going to get to our current relationship. This is going to be wrapping up this topic, and we're going to tell people, like, what it's like now in the sisterhood. One big thing we said is what happens when someone messes with one of us.
Well, as you just heard, when
gosh.
Danny told me about a certain boy from
She
her
has
past,
dreams
in my
about
dream,
murdering
I
them.
stabbed him in the hand.
Ew, Lisa!
Well,
and his face went, we said we rally and roast. Or
We
even
do.
if it's only in
So
our
you know
dreams.
what that means? It's
Oh
like
no.
someone sends it to like the group text. Oh my gosh, this person said this, and we're all like, "What?
What?
They are wrong. You don't deserve that." We just all like chime in. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and then sometimes Lisa will say the most ridiculous things on earth.
And it's
Like with boys, I wish I had some, but like when I sent like really
my
rude
gosh.
things that a boy sent or something, she'd be like, "Be gone," and she would like make up all these weird things about them.
Because I was trying to not be like scary and say it directly when I was thinking of like I want to kill him or whatever. So I was like, how could he? I'm trying to like make it a joke, ha.
But she says it
Ha
funny.
ha.
It gets kind of intense though. Then if we like see that person in
Yeah.
public, we all,
All
are
of
just
us are
like,
like-
Oh.
I can't do it.
You can't.
You just give him a stone
Oh,
cold
but let me
glare.
just say, I have a really good glare in real life when I'm
Right.
not on the
Oh,
spot.
Amy is a good glarer.
Oh, if so,
I
Yeah.
I
This is a
chill.
fact. And I have a quick tidbit about this. Yesterday, sorry, this doesn't have to do with sisters, that's to do with my brother, but it's similar. This girl who I really don't like because she hurt my brother, I saw her in person like 2 days ago, and I walked by her. She was working at a restaurant with the door open, and she has like a really sweet smile. So like she was smiling at me and she was waving because like she really wants me to like her, but I don't. And so I just walked by her like this.
Danny.
As she was smiling and waving because she deserved it.
manipulative.
So that's what we do.
All right, last thing I want to say in our present relationship, there's too much stuff to fit in here.
Too
That's
much
why,
stuff.
That's why we have two parts in this episode. Sorry, guys. It's early. It's not early at all. It's not late either. There's nothing I can say about that. So the other thing we were going to say is that I always give everyone seminars. So like when we're all sitting down at the table, I'm like, guys, we need to raise our standards. If I learn about something, I'm like, if you raise your standards, you change. I make up a random thing I haven't said yet. If you raise your standards, you can change your life because blah, 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 blah. Or I'm like, I just read this thing and we can't repress our feelings anymore. We have to blah, blah, blah. So that's, you could probably guess that, but that's one thing that happens in our current sisterhood. Another thing is we very frequently go to social events together with like 2 or 3 of us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to be alone. Hey, Amy, want to go? Oh, yeah. Okay, let's drive together, right? Let's carpool, you know? So that's to be, well, actually, if you watch our Assumptions episode, which is coming up, you'll know that wasn't to be expected, but I thought it was.
Really quickly, I would add one last current thing that happened that was not planned was I was going on a date with my boyfriend. Yes, I did not have a boyfriend last time we filmed this podcast. I also didn't have hair. Lots of things have changed, and she's married now. Anyway, yeah, it didn't. That wasn't on the last one. I went on a date, a sushi date, and I showed up, and one of my best friends was sitting at the table right behind me, and Lauren, and Alex were sitting at the table right next to us. So it's this little triangle.
No
and
way.
you know,
but you knew that I was going there.
I knew that you were going there, but we were already talking about going there.
Oh, that's
so I was
so
like,
weird.
what?
At the
And
same
my
time.
friend was there too. And somebody might be like, oh, I'm trying to go on a date and my family's here. I don't know why you'd be annoyed. I mean, some people probably be annoyed, but I was like, this is so fun. Oh my gosh. And I kept be like,
Yeah, that
hey
was funny.
guys.
I kept looking at you.
My friend would be like tapping me on my shoulder and be like, hey. And I like look over, she's right there. I loved it. So that's a
You
current
kept
update.
making fun of me because I was singing to myself.
Lauren
I didn't realize I was.
Lauren sits there in public when Alex is like, in the bathroom or something. She goes like,
She always does that.
no, but
I
it's
didn't
like,
realize anyone
it's like
saw
I'm
it.
not here right now, and I'm
Yeah,
in my mind.
always
I'm in
do
a
that.
music video, like
Yeah.
like I walk along the road. But she looks like that in the middle of the restaurant. Only one that I
She does it all the
and she
time.
does like a face and everything. It's really
You
funny.
mean when she says he had to come?
Yes, exactly. So that
All
was
right,
my current
guys,
story.
that wraps up the inside look at our sisterhood. Like I said, there's way more, but it's only on Patreon.
Yeah.
So we're on our very last little segment.
I'm just
Very own
getting.
personal last.
Sorry, I'm just getting really excited about the Patreon episode just because I remembered a few things that we're
I
going to
just
talk
did
about,
too.
and I'm like really excited to talk about them. So don't miss it.
Okay.
Might want to join the club. Don't
So-
be left out.
Sister Spotlight
Woo!
is where each of us gets the spotlight. In one episode, it's one sister, and we have Lauren's Take, Gabrielle with Christina, Stop Your Thoughts with Kath, Amy's Current Crisis, Exposing Lisa, it's weird past, and Danny's Love-Hate List. So today it's Lisa.
Can I just say?
Exposing
Exposing Lisa.
Exposing Lisa.
Oh,
Oh,
I
you're
don't like
exposed.
I don't like
You're
this one.
exposed.
Oh my
gosh.
All
All right, let's
Can I
hear
just
it.
say? I decided every time we do a spotlight, I'm going to be the spotlight.
Oh,
And we go,
cool. Yay. Thank you, Danny.
That's the spotlight.
Here's the story behind this segment. I
I'm
do
a
not
weirdo.
think- no, I do
She's
not.
like, I'm a weirdo. I'm not like.
This is my segment. I'm gonna give you a neck massage.
Why do you think I wear this stupid hat all the time?
I'm gonna give you a neck massage.
I hate that.
Sorry, it's really hard because he's so tense, but you're not.
All right, get with it,
Okay.
lady. The story behind the segment is I did not think. Now I do, I guess. I did not think any of these things were weird as a kid. Like I've
Shocking.
done so many things where I bring it up later, or whatever, and they're like, "What?
like-
Like, what did you do that?" And I was like, I didn't think it was.
That's
weird.
why we made the segment.
Yes.
Lisa kept telling us stuff, and we were like, "What in the rip?"
I kind of assumed that other people did that, or that it just wasn't that weird. Apparently, it's really weird.
She's wrong. It was weird.
And I'm trying to think of more of these as it goes along, but this is just what I'm starting with.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them.
many.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first one that came up recently, I told them how, and I was like, God, I actually was surprised that none of you have done this. When I was little, you hear a bad word, you don't know what it means, you don't know how to use it grammatically, or what you're saying, or why you're saying it. You just know that you heard it. But I also knew, as I think I was literally 4, you also know that these words carry aggression. So you say them when you're mad. At least I did. Apparently you didn't. But you don't want to get in trouble because you know that it's bad. You know that it's wrong. You've somehow learned that it's bad and it's angry. So what I would do to say these words that for some reason I wanted to say was I would go behind the couch in my childhood home. And I remember we had this table that has it's like a thin table with drawers, and then the bottom there's like a little shelf. Do you remember this old table? There's kind of like a wicker shelf thing on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right over the
I do
floor.
remember that.
So I think I would go on the shelf, under the drawers, on the shelf, and I would sit in there and I would go, "Oh, Christina is a beep, beep, beep." And I would say them, but I would say
Oh my
a word that's supposed to have ing.
Didn't you
I
say? You say the word "butt" as a bad word.
Yes, I'd say she's a beep butthead, but it does not make sense how I'm saying it, and I didn't know what I was saying or why. I just knew I was mad. She's a beep butthead. Ugh. I'd sit there, and I remember the couch is right in front of me, so I'm leaning in the couch "Oh, she's a beep." I would do that. And I remember doing that several times, just swearing as a 4-year-old. So some people will be like, "Do you ever say bad words?" I'm like, "No, not really," but I used to say
She has a
absolutely no, but once in a while. But when I was a child, oh yeah, I did.
Wait,
The
guys,
worst words.
I know this is Lisa's spotlight, but I have a thing that just popped into my mind. When I was little, I was walking around and I was rhyming words, and then I accidentally said a bad word. I was 5. And I remember I said I went. And I kept going. Don't ask me why I was rhyming words.
Not Danny's. Not
I
Danny.
was
We're
going
not
through
exposing Danny.
every
Fat,
word that
rat,
rhymed.
cat,
Yes, it
rat.
was like that. Fat, rat, cat, rat.
I said that. Okay. The next one, I was a little older. This is more my teen self now, so these two go together. It's 2 for 1 special. When I was 14, I believe, Miley Cyrus and Nick Jonas started dating. I loved Nick Jonas. And this is kind of the reason why I did so many weird things. It all usually relates back to the fact that I was very, very delusional. So I would have all these imagine, which you'll hear later in the series, have these things where I'm just imagining things or putting myself in a situation that I'm not in my head because I just lived in a dream world. So this for short, I wish I had a guitar and I didn't have nails, I would play the song for you. When I was 14,
I found out that Nick Jonas and Miley Cyrus started dating. I was very jealous. Like it was rough. I was one of the worst fans you can have, where you love the person and you're obsessed with them and you want to be them and you hate them. So it's like, but I couldn't stop like looking at everything that she did. And remember, I'm a kid with no life, so it's not like nowadays where maybe I'm jealous of someone. I look them up for one day or whatever. I'm like every single day for a year, like going back to this and researching. It's just way too much. I'm not ashamed to admit that, but it's very weird.
Good for you.
So I wrote a song about Nick Jonas as if I knew him. It's not like I think there's a few celebrities out there that have songs they wrote about celebrities when they were a fan,
them.
but it sounds no, Danny, when they were fans, but when Danny, their songs are better because when you listen to this song, they're being very literal. It's a fan song.
Yeah.
You're like, it's a fan song.
Not yours.
Exactly. But when I did mine, I could release it right now and you would think it was a normal song, but it's about Nick Jonas, who I had never met. I think the opening part was like, G major chord. I'm like, wait, what was the first words? He turned 16 this year and there's plenty I'd like to say. Between us there's only 1 year and 3 days. And then the next part, I say, I smile when he says goodbye, but there's so much that I keep inside and I cry on the way home because he don't know. So that is about when he says goodnight, everybody, at his concert. And I smile when he says goodbye. But there's so much that I keep inside because I didn't get to tell him that I love him because I don't know him. And I'm
at a concert.
And I cry on the way home from his concert because he don't know that I love him as a total stranger. That was my song. The last one is short. It's also related
That
to
was
that.
actually a really good song, though.
Thank
I
you.
really
Wait,
like the
great
melody.
I'd like
song.
to say something.
Wait.
I wrote a song for Lisa. Because or a poem. I wrote you a poem once because you were really mad about the Burning Up music video because he was with Selena Gomez, and I wrote a song about how I don't know why I went along with your delusional fantasy. That's really weird. But I wrote a song about like, how could you do this?
Oh my God.
Okay, wait, I
I'm
gotta
ashamed.
finish. Also the chorus changed keys. I was such a musical prodigy, and I would go. It went to like F, and it kind of went to like C major, but it started an F chord, and I was like, I'm giving in to him, and I don't know how long I'll fall until I hit the ground.
Ooh, this is
Do-do-dum,
good.
And
wanna-
then I
I
did
like this song.
Sharpie tattoos on my hand and his name across the middle of my heart. This is a good
I
song.
love this
Lisa,
song.
I want you to
Country
write
song.
this song.
I wrote
does
it.
sound like
I wanna
country.
hear it.
Right?
Can you
That
write
was
it
like
down?
a Michelle
song?
Branch song.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe we
Can
could
we
release it on
actually do it?
Patreon.
Oh my
Please
God.
record it. I want to
Let's
Yes.
do it on
Yes.
Patreon.
All
All
right.
right, we're
We're
officially
doing it.
Okay.
we're releasing
doing it.
this on
And I
Patreon.
really do like the song.
Lisa's song about
Um,
Nick Jonas.
I tried to make myself feel better a few years later, or during the same time. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just also write it about this boy I have a crush on. So I'd change the word sometimes and say, between us, there's only 3 years and 2 days, because we also had close birthdays. Anyway, the last one. I would always look at pictures of Miley Cyrus. She's out and about. She's in the paparazzi. She's so famous. She's so rich. She's so young. Like, why can I not be jealous of her? I had a problem with envy as a child. And I just wanted to be her because
And
she had
aggression.
everything that I wanted. A music career, riches, fame, the boy, not just a boy. So, what I would do to make myself feel like, one of those like glory days kind of moments where it's like, man, if I had the chance, I would have done it way better than her. I would have been her easily. I would see her paparazzi pictures. This is so weird, guys. One of them was, she wears a wig as Hannah Montana, right? So she's got her wig cap on and her hair's all pinned up, but she's wearing a hood to cover it. So I think my logic was, I wonder if I look that pretty with a hood on and no hair. So I would go in the bathroom and find the hoodie in my closet that was as close to the one she was wearing as possible, and I would look and I would try to retake the picture or like try on the outfit and look and be like, do I look like her? Do I look as good as her? Do I look better than her? I almost never felt like I looked better, but I really wanted to. And I would do certain, she would do her hair a certain way, and I would literally write it down, like, okay, curls like this, the purple tank top on Hannah Montana. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do that. But not just because I wanted to be her, because I wanted to, replace her.
Whoa.
So, yeah. That's all we have for you today on Exposing Lisa.
I'm really scared.
Guys, I don't
hope
know
you
about you,
enjoyed
but
that.
a chill just ran up my spine. I wanted to replace.
It sounded like a horror movie when you
I
said
know.
replace her.
It should
Yeah.
be a horror movie.
Oh,
And I would like to
it
say
is
now,
It is
I
the
would like to
roommate.
say, listen. Oh gosh, it's
Mickey
not
Kelly
like
and
that.
Leighton Meester.
When by replace, I don't mean like kidnap her. I just mean I wanted to date
Date
Nick
Nick
Jonas and be a famous
Gotcha.
Disney star. Woo! It's a wild ride. Living Lisa's past. All right, guys, that's all we got for our podcast. And like I said, all of the juicy extras. Part 2 is on episode 2, only on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Cimorelli Podcast.
Really?
Every other episode is available only on Patreon. 2 a month our YouTube, and 4 a month our Patreon. So join our Patreon. There's so much more than the podcast on there. It's an amazing place. And thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you in the next Cimorelli Podcast. All right, see you guys.
Bye. Nerds.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli Podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat.